To calculate the stretch on the fabric, the first thing I will do is I am going to cut out my fabric to the width of 5 inches and to the length of 5 inches. Okay, so the width is going to be 5 inches wide and the length is going to be 5 inches long. Please, while cutting your fabric out, take note of this, okay, so that you will know the actual width of the fabric and the actual length of the fabric. Okay, this is what will help you know the difference. Seeing this on the fabric means this is the length, like this is the length of the fabric, and like this is the width of the fabric. Okay, you know, fabrics crepe in Nigeria, most of the crepes in Nigeria comes in 60 inches as length. So this here will help you know that the length is this way while the width is this way. Okay, this is very, very necessary when calculating the stretch on your fabric. You need to know if the width of the fabric is what stretches more than the length of the fabric. Okay, so I am going to be cutting out, like I said, 5 inches. So I'm going to cut this out, this square. Like I said, now I know that the actual length of my fabric, like the way it came, the length of it, this is what I will use in knowing. So the length of it, the actual length of it is this way. So I'm going to measure or I'm going to find out the percentage of stretch that the length has. Okay, this is the length. And then I'm going to measure or calculate the percentage of stretch that the width have. This is the width. Okay, so this is what I'm using to identify where the length is and where the width is. Okay, this here, we all have it on the fabric. On the top you see this, on the length you see this particular thing here. Okay, let me bring it close. So most of the time when your fabric looks the same both front and back, this is what you use in knowing which side is actually the front side, that's the good side, and the wrong side. Okay, but my fabric, the wrong side is obvious and the right side is obvious. Okay, so yeah, but this is what I use in knowing the actual length of my fabric and the width. Okay, I just want you to understand that particular aspect. I'm going to go ahead and measure the percentage of stretch that I have on the length of my fabric, and once I'm done doing that, I'm going to now measure the percentage of stretch I have on the width of my fabric, and this is very important. We know both. Okay, now for the length, I am going to go ahead and place the starting point of my tape on this point here. And now remember my fabric length is 5 inches, right? I am going to go ahead and stretch my fabric to see how many inches is added to my 5 inches. Okay, so when I stretch my fabric, now make sure you stretch really hard. Just hold on to the base here, the beginning of your tape here, just on this point here, and stretch the rest out. Okay, and let's see how much inches is added to my 5 inches. So when I stretch my fabric, I am getting 6 inches. Okay, so my 5 inches length of fabric stretches out to 6 inches, which means 1 inch is added to the length. Okay, I had 5 inches before, and when I stretch it out, I get 6 inches. And what does that mean? It means that the percentage of stretch that I have on my fabric is 20%. Do you understand? When your fabric stretches out up to 1 inch, it means that the stretch on your fabric is 20%. When it stretches out up to 2 inches, it means that the percentage of stretch on your fabric is 40%. When it stretches out to 3 inches more, it means that the percentage of stretch on your fabric is 60%. When it stretches out to 4 inches more, it means that the percentage of stretch on your fabric is 80 inches. And when your fabric stretches out to 5 inches, like you have 5 inches of length and you stretch it and you get 10 inches, which is 5 inches added to your 5, that is 100% stretch, right? it means that your fabric doubles up to itself, like it doubles. 5 inches produce 5 inches more. That is 100% stretch. So when I hold on to my tape here at the edge here, see, and I'm just holding on to this part, and I try to stretch the 5 inches of length, and I'm getting 6 inches. So it means 1 inch has been added to the actual length, and that 1 inch means 20%. Now, assuming I did this and I'm getting only 5.5, if I stretch my fabric and I'm getting only 5.5, which means only half an inch of stretch is added to my 5 inches, it means that my fabric stretches out 10%. Okay, half an inch of stretch means 10%, 1 inch is 20%, 1.5 is 30%, 2 inches is 40%, 2.5 is 50%, 3 inches is 60%, 3.5 is 70%, 4 inches is 80%, 4.5 is 90%, and 5 is 100%. Okay, I hope you guys understand. Now, so I already know now that it is 1 inch of stretch that I got on my length, which is a 20% of stretch. I'm going to do the same thing for the width. Okay, I'm going to measure the stretch I have on the width of my fabric, and I'm going to do that by placing the beginning of my tape on this point here, and then I'll try to stretch my I'm just holding on to this part here, the rest is free. I'm going to try to stretch the width of my fabric that is 5 inches. I'm going to try to stretch it and see how many inches is added to it. Okay, so this is it, and stretching it also, I'm getting 6. So my 5 inches of fabric stretches out to 6, which means 1 inch is what is added to the stretch. Okay, and 1 inch means what? 20% of stretch. Okay, so please don't get it twisted, don't get it confused. 1 inch of stretch added to your actual length or your width is a 20% stretch. 2 inches is a 40% stretch. Half inch is 10%. Okay, 1.5 is 30. If you need me to, I'm going to still do for the other fabrics when I'm cutting them. I'm going to still measure the percentage of stretch. So if you watch this video, you watch the next one, you watch the third one, there is no way you will not become a professional in calculating the stretch on your fabric. Okay, trust me, I got you. Okay, so now that I know that the width of my fabric stretches out to 6, which is 1 inch extra added to my 5 inches, that is a 20% stretch. The length also the same thing, 1 inch of stretch added to the fabric, which means I have 20% stretch on the fabric, both on the length and on the width. Now I know how to cut my fabric. Now I know that since I have no zip on the fabric, I'm going to cut my fabric to the actual measurement I have on the pattern without no allowance. And if I decide to add any allowance, it's going to be for the weaving. Okay, for the purpose of weaving the fabric, I'll need that extra allowance there to weave. But apart from that, I don't need to add zip. I don't need to add any extra allowance for sewing or ease, because the fabric stretches out by 20%, and 20% is enough for me to fit into the dress once I'm done sewing. Okay, so hope you guys were able to understand how to calculate the percentage of stretch. If you have any question or any confusion, please let me know in the comment section, and let's go ahead and cut out the pattern on the fabric. Phone ringing, bitches know a big triple. I got the hook up and there's really no limit. Dead brokers and you niggas